Looks like yes, we are. Here we are. Hello, everyone. It's Tuga Tuesdays. We're gonna review round six of the Primera Liga with my dear friends and from Benfica and Porto, of course, Rui Dos Santos from the English Porto podcast, and of course, Mr. Benfica, Mike D'Agostino. Guys, how you doing tonight? How you feeling about your teams? Tell me, Mike, how you feeling?
Like I always feel before we play Porto. You never know what you're going to get. I throw the records out when we play them, so we'll see. They've had a lot more success in our house than we have lately in this rivalry. So a lot of our results have come in their house and vice versa. So I'm a little nervous. I will say I'm a little nervous. Confident, but again, this is going to be a tough game. It's going to go all the way to the end. And all kinds of things are going to happen.
Of course. And now, Rui, how you feeling? Huh? You feeling like you got the Saidu Sanusi jersey on or what?
Which jersey? Sanusi? No, this one's Deku from 2004. So I had to wear this one on the show. I'm feeling I don't know. I'm optimistic on this one. It's when Porto play against a team that's good, they actually play better, and I think when it's playing against the teams that are like Gil Vicente and all the smaller clubs that like to just pack things in and make the lives difficult of the bigger teams, and Porto tends to struggle more than Benfica and Sporting do against those sides. So it's going to be interesting this game because Benfica have a really good team, and they played us really well in the Supertaça, but. 2 months later, things are different, and it's a different competition. I think both sides understand each other much better than they did going into this season, and there's a lot at stake. And what makes this round even more interesting and even more fun is that both teams are just 1 point off from each other on the table. Yeah. So there's a lot of meaning that goes into this game. So even if one side does win, it doesn't dictate the rest of the season, and they're not getting too far away from each other. So there's a lot that going into this game, but both sides are obviously looking for a victory because bragging rights, and obviously you want to get closer and closer to the title. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a good game, I think.
Of course, I cannot wait. I just waiting, checking on my schedule, and like, boom, it's happening. It's up. You're on for the Clásico again. I mean, every year I got the honor to call this game, and it's so crazy, right? Because I'm here tonight with you, guys, to do the recap of the round six. But we were already talking about the Clásico. Not
you
even
knew that was going to happen.
What happened 24 hours ago. Right, we're really thinking on Friday. Our mindset is on Friday. It's insane. And now that, all right, guys, quick question: are you gonna be able to watch a game? Are you guys, what about your work schedule? You guys clear for that? You guys, already.
I don't know if my temperature goes up a little bit that morning. I think we'll be okay. I think it'll be a good day to use one of those sick days.
Yeah. And it's always it's a good long weekend too, so take the day off.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be able I'll most likely be able to watch the game if I have a flexible job, so I'm able to take some time off to watch the game, and if it's not too busy, but I'm gonna try to make it happen and be there to watch it.
Right, because I'm asking you these guys because I know we're gonna do the recap, of course, of the round six. I know we need to do that. That's what we're doing this tonight. But on Friday, all right, I already got involved with Zach Lowy. I got the guys from Long Ball Football, and I wanna throw a game preview 1 hour before the game. You guys are gonna be able to join me on that on Friday or
I'll let you know. I'll let you know then.
maybe. Okay. Because just let me know. I've already contacted Zach.
Now that I know, I may be able to make it happen. Now that I know in advance.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. I'm just throwing this out there. I was gonna tell you this at the end of the show, right? But
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can make it happen because I'm supposed to watch it. I was hoping to watch the game at one of the Portuguese clubs down here. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I can do it over my phone.
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, we'll figure it out. We'll figure
There'll
it
be a
out.
little bit of an atmosphere in the background too. So yeah, it'll make it interesting.
That'd be so exciting, man. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Just fan out and all the fans, all the Porto fans. You know, I got this big fan of Porto, Rui Girao. He's in Austin, in New York, and he's hardcore, man. He's hardcore, man. Every time he just everything thing that I said, he's like, "Boo, no, it's this and that." He throws the records on me. But it's cool. I mean, it's always respectful. He's fun, you know. It's not. I mean, like he's hardcore Porto. I mean, Jesus, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, Mike, I said this during the Benfica game, and I said this also during the Sporting game. All right. I feel after all these 6 rounds, and especially after this latest round, this round 6. That they are the only 2 teams that are able to dictate the tempo during the games. All right, they are the only 2 teams. If they want to win by 5, they'll do it. If they want to score only 2, they'll do 2. But I think they can. They have you know, the way that they display the teams on the pitch, and the way they dominate, because they dominate. They're dominating the games lately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It gives them that luxury to kind of take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and manage the energy, to dosify the energy of the game, of the team, throughout the games. That's not the case with Porto. We'll talk about Porto in a second. But is that how you feel about Benfica, Mike?
So far, yeah. So I think they're too lackadaisical in that regard. I think they're taking the foot off the pedal too much, and you see they fail. I don't know how many games in a row now fail the opportunity to go up 3-0, and next thing you know, it's 2-1. And like this week, as you said, it was in moments. It was nearly 2-2, if not for a penalty save. But yeah, I do think that it does appear that way. But at the same time, I think Porto gets momentum and gets confidence from winning the way they're winning, because they know they're never out of the match. And that's going to be in Benfica's head as well, because it doesn't matter until that final whistle blows. Porto's going to believe that they're going to get the result. If it's to draw or to win, whatever they need, they're going to get. And they're going to fight for it until that final whistle. So you have to play all the way to the final whistle against them. They've already proven that this year. So, I mean, yeah, it's good, but it can also lead to complacency, where they can come in thinking they're just going to control the game. And this game's going to be different. This game's going to be more physical. I think it's going to be obviously more emotional. And there's going to need to be a level of control and to keep everything in check. It's going to be a little bit harder to dominate or dictate the tempo of the game in this one. Of course, depending on the game plan for the 2 teams as well, and depending whether or not one team wants to let the other team have a little bit of the flow for a while, to feel them out and then to wait to hit on a counter or something like that. It's going to be interesting to see what direction this game goes in. But yeah, up till now, I think you're right about Benfica and Sporting. Outside of that opener, losing to Boavista, but that also comes down to going down to 10 men, which, I mean, we've got proof now what happens when Benfica goes down to 10 men. So that's also something I'm going to be very nervous about going into this match. If we go down to 10 men in the 20th, 30th minute, that's an awful long time. And bad things have happened this season when we go down to 10 men. So, yeah, it is. But we get to this match, and I don't really think it matters what's happened up to this point.
Right, absolutely. I'm not just saying up till now. I know this is,
but up till now, I think you're right. Yeah, I think your assessment's on point.
Now, Rui, do you bet? Do you bet, Rui?
No, I actually don't. I do not bet.
Don't? All right,
no.
All right, but you gotta tell your fans, right? Your fans of the podcast, that if Porto plays, it's gonna be 2-1. And it's gonna be a late goal.
It's always 2-1.
So you're going with.
You got guaranteed, man. You got guaranteed money with the 2-1 and late goal from whoever plays in Porto that day.
So you're
4
going with
times.
Porto.
4 times. Yeah, we'll talk about the game in a second. But
He's
4
saying it's going to be 2-1 either way.
Oh, it's going to be 2-1 either way. Okay, yeah.
either way. But no, it's crazy, right? It's this is the 4th game of the season, going late again. But I feel that this last game that they won, I saw an improvement. I saw an improvement on especially with the input that Ivan Jaime is having on the team. It's just it's not there yet, okay? But he's gonna be the Otavino that you've been missing, and I think he's gonna play a key role in the Clásico. But again, you're still undefeated. You're still undefeated, and I said this on air, right, during the game. So I called the game, even though it was a delay game and the game was played. Jesus, man, it drives me nuts when they.
I saw your tweet. I was like, "What?"
Yeah. But we played at nighttime. It was at 9 p.m. The game, 9 p.m.
Something
the game was
like that,
2 or something. But I didn't see anything, right? I didn't. Of course, I knew the score, right? But that when I have those kind of games, when the game is so far away from the time that was played, I try to, as much as I can, that I'm not watching any details. I mean, I know I know the score, and that's all I know, but I don't know who
you want to react to it,
and I don't know the time of the score. So it kind of saves some energy from that. But this is what I said on air, is that if Porto, the way they play now, they're undefeated. Just imagine when Porto starts playing at the level that's supposed to be playing, right? So that's the to see the glass half full, because right now the team hasn't been playing any attractive soccer. No, they won in the Champions League. Heck yeah. So, but there's still so many pieces that they need to put together in order to come up victorious on this season.
Yeah, I mean, to start off with Ivan Jaime and the Otavino comparisons, I definitely think that he can be that replacement in terms of the attack, because he's just so dynamic and he's so versatile up top. He can play in the middle, he can play on both wings, he can play as a second striker. Very versatile, and he's a great option. I really like how well he's been playing as a newcomer, just a new signing and on a new team in a complicated system when the whole team isn't really gelling together the way that they're supposed to. He's been one of the standout guys, and I'm really happy that we picked him up this summer. He scored a great goal, and he was making things happen. I think you're right. I think we saw some improvements on Porto's end. I think we kept going after. We never lost control of the game. We just couldn't really finish, and we ended up finishing in the dire minutes once again. Somehow we just managed to make it happen, turn nothing into something. But yeah, definitely some improvements here. I think Gil Vicente in general has always been our bogey team, especially when we're at home, where we usually have a good track record against the smaller clubs at home. They've always just made it difficult for us. They're just yeah, great analogy. They always make it difficult. So when Porto starts, in the beginning of the season, they start looking at like the schedule. That Gil Vicente game is always that one that sticks out as like, oh, these guys again. Like it's not going to be easy. But I liked how we didn't lose our control. We didn't lose our minds, and we just don't give up. That's just one of the best traits about our team is no matter how good or bad we are in form, if we're having a good season or a bad season, the team just never gives up. And I think we really just play really well, or we maximize our potential when our backs are up against the wall, and we just make something happen. So I think we're going to see a bit of that. And I think even if Benfica do go ahead in this game, you're going to just start seeing Porto just not letting go, and they're just going to keep going at it. And it's not going to be over until it's over. And it's vice versa. The same thing with Benfica as well. It's a derby, and both sides are going to give everything, and it's not going to be over until the last minute, and I can definitely see your prediction coming true. Maybe maybe
Yeah.
we win in the end of the game, or Benfica gives us a taste of our own medicine. You know,
We'll see.
a lot can
We'll
happen.
see.
A lot can happen.
Yeah.
And I think and I said Sanusi's jersey because of that. That's why I said Sanusi's jersey. You remember that late goal from Sanusi? Of course you do.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was great for
No,
us. Not so great for Mike.
of course,
Yeah,
no.
after the
Absolutely
1
right.
centimeter offside. After the 1
Come
centimeter
Right.
on,
offside.
man,
Right
come on.
before.
It was not offside.
It was
Anyway,
that day.
you know what? Talking about players. I wanted to mention two players. That they're special for me, and they're special for both of you. I want to start first, and usually start with Mike. When I was back with Rui, with Porto, and because of course I got Galen on my fantasy team, and what I was gonna say is this finally the year where Wenderson Galeno will be a star player for Porto, because it's been like in the making for several years. He went on along. I mean, Braga was fantastic, and then he came back to Porto, and but it's just you have that feeling that he's taking off, and then some way somehow he loses control. I mean, they're losing both engines and one engine, or you don't know, is he gonna be mad, or is he gonna commit the crazy plays? He's gonna be sent off, and then losing focus. And is this finally the year for Wenderson Galeno to shine with Port?
To be honest, when he became a starter and actually caught a stride last year, I thought he was one of our best players, especially in the attack last year. And even when times when Taremi was going through a cold streak and through a slump, I felt like 2023 wasn't a really good year for Mehdi Taremi. He was good, but he wasn't his normal self. And I felt like Galeno was more of one of our better players on the attack, and I was pretty happy with his performances last year. Of course, he's not as consistent as we would like him to be, but I think I think he has more good games than bad ones. I think this season has just been weird for him. He's just really started off really slow, and it's not really his ability. I think he's a wonderful player on his day. He's got that explosiveness that Luis Diaz has, not so much the all around ability and awareness that Luis Diaz had, but there's some similarities in terms of his ability of getting past defenders and using his speed and taking advantage of that. And he's got that ability to whip in good crosses. But this year, it's just really been his mental decisions, the mental lapses, poor decision making. I think he's a great player.
Yeah.
I think he's got great ability. I think if he
It's hard
overcomes, yeah, if he overcomes those bad passes or hogging the ball to get past another defender or shooting it when you're not supposed to, and then there's other times where he's unselfish, where he passes the ball when he doesn't need to, where he could just take a shot. It's those decisions that kind of mess up his overall performance in games, and it frustrates a lot of Porto fans. I think he gets a lot of crap and a lot of negative feedback from a lot of Porto fans, but I think him on his day, he's just a really excellent player. We saw it in the Champions League, and we see it times in the league as well. So I think in the last two games he's done rather well since the Champions League. So hopefully I think the Champions League game was the game that he really needed to just boost his confidence back and just get back on track to where he can be. So I do think he can be a superstar on this team. I think he can only get better. He's still young, and the more he plays, the more he can get more confidence. The better performances he can get. I think it's just gonna work out better for him. I think he's gonna have a better year this year than he did last year.
Right now, I'm gonna go over Mike now on the on the other side of the pitch in of this pitch, not on the pitch.
Yeah.
Actual. David Neres, ladies and gentlemen, he's a fantastic winger, and I think that for me, I mean, for us, I think I speak for everyone. I think he cannot be a bench player. He cannot be a bench player for Benfica.
Mhm.
There's no way that he has to hit. Why he has to be in the bench? Because of Joao Mario is gonna feel upset about it. Is he gonna do something
No,
against Roger Smith or something?
no,
No,
it's all
what's
about balance. Between Neres, Rafa, and Di Maria, only two of those three can play because then you're too exposed, especially with a makeshift left back. He can't. One of
you
them,
know, I said that
someone
on
has to
air.
be
You know,
there
I said that
to
on air
protect.
that they can play. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So you know, I said that on air that for me that attack in front, Di Maria, Rafa, and Neres on top, it would be
Maybe maybe with the healthy Juan Bernat and a healthy Alex Bob both back as backs, maybe you experiment that, but really you're only doing those three if you're losing because there needs to and Kokshu really is a player that belongs in that number 10 position. That's where he played for Feyenoord and he's playing
right.
further back in the pivot for us. So he's starting to fill into that position. He's starting to get familiar with it, but it's a tough situation to have. And it's a headache for the manager, and there's everyone's got their own opinion, and it's funny because fans wanted squad rotation, and then he gives squad rotation, and everyone hates the changes he made. It's like which one do you want? But I posed the question to my listeners. I said this may be controversial, but I'd be leaning towards starting Neres over Di Maria in this game this week, given that he's not 100%. You go with Neres. He played 90. Di Maria doesn't have 90 minutes in the tank. It's shown
Right now.
at about the 60-minute mark. He tails off a little bit. Why not
Yeah.
bring him in at the 60-minute mark? Give him 30 minutes against a more
Yeah.
tired, worn out Porto side. And maybe that's the way that I might attack it. But of course, you're also dealing with egos. You're dealing with a superstar like Di Maria. And of course, if you don't start him and you go down 2-0, there it is. There's the scapegoat. It's that decision. It's a tough problem to have. They say it's a good problem, but it's
Right.
not good if you're the one that has to make the decision. It's
Right.
good
Right.
in theory, but in practice, it's difficult. Especially the way Neres played this weekend. I mean, I'm still a few days later leaning towards thinking he should be the one starting and have Angel coming off the bench in this one, given just the form right now, because he's slowing down a little bit. He's played a lot of minutes. He's traveled, and Neres is fresh. I mean, he looks great for all 90 minutes. He's still running at the end of the match. That's what I think. But again, I don't know that Roger has the full trust in Neres yet to let him play all the time or to, sit a Di Maria or maybe a Rafa. I think there'll be a point in the season where Rafa's form will tail off, which it usually does. And maybe that's when you see Neres and Di Maria on the two outsides with either Kokshu or João Mario filling into that number 10 position in between them. But right now, I can't see all three of them starting. And I have just this feeling that he's gonna put Neres back on the bench on Friday and start Di
Thanks,
Maria
God.
and start. I have that sense. I don't know. He's not gonna make a wholesale change in a game like this. He's not gonna make a change that changes everything about the way the team plays, because when you have those three as the attacking midfielders, that changes the job description for the guys around them, because they're going to leave so much space to be covered when we lose the ball. And then you factor in is Florentino going to play or is João Neves going to play? Again, changes the jobs of everyone around them. So he's got a lot of headaches to deal with this week, to be honest.
Now, I'm gonna put this on Rui now, because there's this all this questioning about David Carmo and the center back situation and Porto. Now that you don't have Marcano, the things are even more complicated now. But you watch the game, right? You watch the game, Rui, right?
Mhm.
So in that, and I said this also on air that you so many times we criticize the center backs. Hey, he wasn't on in the position. Where was his coverage? Why he didn't stop him? And in this particular goal from Depu, and I think there's nothing that any other center back in the world could have done. Okay, because of the speed. If they beat you in the speed, there's nothing else that you can do. He
Right.
outrun the center backs. But having said that, is this still this mantra, aura around David Carmo that all that money that you guys pay for him, and he's not delivering.
Yeah, I think last year was a tough year, and that's always expected on young players that arrive. I mean, it happened to Fabio Vieira, it happened to Vitinha, you know, and look how they turned out to be, and look where they're playing right now. So I know it's different positions and everything, but this is a long-term investment. This wasn't David Carmo's arriving and then he's going to be the superstar, he's going to be the starter and all that. Maybe, I mean, sure, some of us would like to see that, but it's a long-term investment. This guy costs 20 million euros. He has 80 million euro release clause, so you know it's going to take time for him to get there. He has a 5-year contract. He's young. But what I've been seeing in the last few games has been pretty impressive, especially how he went almost an entire year without starting, and he barely played in 2023 of last season. In this past game, he made an error on the goal. He sent a bad pass and it was intercepted in the middle of the field, and then they went on a counterattack and they scored. But outside of that mistake, and that mistake's going to happen because it's his 3rd game starting this year. So he needs time. He's young. It's a different system than he was at Braga. It's a bigger club. There's bigger pressure. There's bigger expectations. It's completely different. But I think he's been finding his stride a bit. And outside of that mistake, he was playing really well. It's just unfortunate that he made that mistake, and it's going to happen. But I've been pretty happy to see that he's kind of collecting himself in these games. So he's going to get the start. And I remember last year in the first game against Benfica, he did rather well in that game. A few weeks later, he had a bad game. I think it was in a Champions League game or in a league game where we just didn't see him after that. So we know we've seen how good he can be, and he's been doing pretty well, and he seems like he's getting better and better every week. And it was just a matter of time. This was going to be the year that he has to stand. He has to perform because Marcano and Pep, regardless of Marcano being injured, they're at a combined age of 77. There's no way all of them are going to be playing, 34 games in the league, plus the 10 extra or whatever it is in the Champions League, and then the Masters. He has to play and he has to perform. So I think right now he's making the most of his opportunity, and I think a lot of Porto fans are pretty happy. We just hope that he doesn't make the mistakes that a lot of inexperienced center backs do. So this is a big test for him, and I think he's got to make the most of it. I think a lot's going to be on his shoulders in this game.
I'm talking about inexperience. Tonito Silva. Tonito Silva out, he was sent off, and then but he's not starting. He put Morato.
Yeah, that was so Morato could get 90 minutes in before the Inter match. I think Antonio goes back in on Friday.
For sure, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
how do you feel about Tonito?
Oh, I'm fine. I mean, listen, that could happen to anybody. He goes to try to clear the ball off of the goal line, and it hits the crossbar on the way down. The trajectory changes. Oh, look at him! And then he sees the attacker coming, and it's just the reflex, and the arm goes. I actually don't even like that he came out and apologized. I don't think there's anything to apologize for there. He's playing the game. Ball, it hit his hand. It is what it is, and you play. You're a center back. You're going to get sent off. It happens. And I mean, and I think Roger said the same thing in the post game. He said his apology was unnecessary. But I can understand a young player feeling like he needed to do that. But I think he's going to be fine. He's been very, very consistent since he came into the first team. He wasn't even supposed to, he was supposed to be the 4th center back last year. He was given one opportunity, never gave it back. He never gave it back. And, Lucas Verissimo's at Corinthians now because of that, because he never gave him the spot back. So I'm confident with him and Otamendi. I'm always confident. The two of them really play well together. They play off each other well. One is a little quicker than the other. The other's got better vision. You get the older and the younger. They really make a good duo together. And that's going to be the duo on Friday night. Yeah, Morata needed to play, so this was the game that he was going to get to play, so that he doesn't go to the San Siro with 5 minutes under his belt this season. And again, Morata, just like Carmo, is a guy that just seems to make the mistake. He made the he concedes the penalty in the Champions League game. He's the one that gives the ball away on a pass that was not where it was intended for, and it gives that counterattack that ends up being Salzburg's second goal. So, and last year he was in for one game. I remember for Otamendi, who had yellow card accumulation. He doesn't clear the ball well at Portimonense last season, and they score. Again, it seems every time he plays, the other team's goal is coming from him somehow. So that, only further solidifies, my feeling that Antonio and Otamendi are the duo, and I don't think any chances are going to be taken in that position this week, unless something happens and a change has to be made. But I think the plan is always going to go with the two normal center backs.
Now that I'm a little bit to the left on that, to the left.
Yes,
on that defense, and not on your defense, but on Rui's defense.
Mm-hmm.
Wendell, Saidu, there's not no one has the starting position. No one has the age over the other one, and I think it's kind of like the same situation in Benfica. Since Grimaldo left, that you got Jurasek, you got of course Mr. Multiple Personalities, Orsnes, he can play in anywhere, right? But Rui, how you feel about that left back position? Is this going to continue to be an issue for the team, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, wouldn't it be how great would it be, Mike, if Grimaldo and Alex Telles came back just to play in this game, huh?
Just to put those
solve
two
a lot of.
Yeah.
It'd be the final pieces to the puzzle for both sides.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can understand why Zaidu is used, but he is just, especially against the smaller teams, he cannot be playing against them. I can understand why Sergio went with him in the Champions League, because he brings that speed, that recovery time on transitions. And, it wouldn't surprise me if he actually uses them against Benfica, because that right side that Benfica has, whether it's Neres or Di Maria on that right side, or even Rafa if he drifts out wide. Benfica has a lot of firepower in the attack that could really just take advantage of Wendell, that doesn't have the wheels and he doesn't have that defensive ability. So I think if you have a guy like Zaidu on those counterattacks, he can recover and slow things down because he's just lightning quick. Wendell is excellent. I don't want to say he's excellent, but he's much better on the ball. And, in terms of whipping and crosses on set pieces and whatever, he does okay. So I don't know. I guess the left back situation is always going to be Wendell until you're playing against a team that is really good, that has quality wingers, where you do need to have speed and recovery to catch up or to just cut off the transition on the opposition, and that's where Zaidu comes in. So, for me, I like Wendell more because I think he makes Galinu's job a lot easier on the attack. Because when Galinu's playing with Zaidu, it's a nightmare. He doesn't have anyone to really work with on that side of the pitch, and when Zaidu does play, the left side of the pitch is just non-existent. We end up shifting more to the middle, and that doesn't always work out well. And then we shift more to the right, where it is a lot better and it's a lot easier because the attacking-minded players are there. So I don't know who Sergio is going to go with. I can understand either or, because Wendell is the guy that can contribute on the attack, but Zaidu is there for that physical purpose, that speed to slow down the wingers that Benfica have. So for me, I could go with either or. It depends. I trust Sergio going into these games, and I'll understand whether he plays one or the other.
Mike, what do you think is the strength of the team right now?
What was that?
What do you think is
The
the
strength?
strength? Yeah.
Well, it's the front. It's those three behind the striker, no doubt, is the strength of the team right now. It's the guys, the dribblers that can break down the lines, as they say. They can break the lines. They can do it on the dribble when the pass isn't there. They can get in behind on the run when that's there. It's Rafa and Di Maria and Nedic, those three. Like I already said, probably won't all be on the pitch at the same time, but any combination of those three, I think those are the guys that make the difference in this match, especially because they have the ability on the dribble. And I think if they're smart, they're going to be looking to run at Porto's backline and try to get some of those guys booked early and try to put some pressure on them so that later perhaps they'll think twice before sticking a foot in and before making them have to run with us a little bit. And that's where the strength is. Now, the goals don't often come out of the striker in any Roger Schmidt team. Last year was kind of an anomaly that Gonzalo Ramos got as many goals as he did, because he usually doesn't. That's not really what Roger looks for in his strikers throughout his career. He's looking for a guy that can press high, but we right now don't have that guy. So it's going to be. There's a chance that Musa comes out this one and stays on his form. I mean, he's finding the back of the net. He's getting himself into good spaces. I thought against Salzburg, Musa was really, really good. He didn't get the goal, but he had 3 good chances that Schlager just saved made phenomenal saves on. And his work rate was really high. He was dropping in more, helping. He was getting the ball deeper and then getting it out to those wings and getting them the opportunity to get into spaces. I think Ba could be huge for the same concerns Rui has about his left side. I know before he got injured in that Clásico last year that we lost, Ba had you can call it an assist. It was the cross that ended up being in an own goal, but he is the one that whipped in. He gets in wide, and if the right ball is delivered to him, he can deliver a good cross. And then it's whether or not we can get a guy on the end of it in the box. Of course, Porto's center backs are very good at defending those too. But I think Ba could be really, really crucial, depending which defender Sergio decides to put there, whether it's Wendell or whether it's Zaidu. Could be the difference whether how much Ba gets involved and how healthy Ba really is. And you think he's got a knock, and then he runs all day, but then the next game he's got nothing left, and he goes down early, and he's doing this signaling, and so it's hard to tell because he plays kind of reckless. So he runs into guys a lot. He sometimes assumes the dribble when he doesn't need to and takes extra hits. Rafa too takes extra shots that he doesn't always need to, meaning like he takes the dribble and gets hit extra times when he could release. There's so many different things that can happen in this match. It's so hard to predict because an early goal either way completely changes, I think, the course of the match. Probably opens it up for both teams if there's an early goal, because they're both going to start looking for it. I know Benfica, if they fall behind, the pressure of the crowd is going to be enormous because we just have that built in. It is a chip in our brain that if we don't go ahead in 10 minutes into the game, the panic starts. I mean, I'm not going to sleep too well this week, as you can tell. It's very possible that things go well. I mean, the Super Cup was a tale of 2 games. The first half was one, and the second half was a different one. And I'm nervous that Benfica is going to come in with too much confidence from that Super Cup. Well, I know Porto is going to be motivated from that. They're going to draw all the motivation they need from that result. Especially the Super Cup. That's their competition. That's, the fact that I think it was only the second time they'd lost to us in that competition. And the last one was 30 some years ago. So, I mean, those 3 are going to be so crucial in this game, and they're going to have to get the service to Musa or to Arthur, whoever in that part of the match is playing there. It's going to be Musa from the start, no doubt. But if the substitution is made, they're going to have to deliver those balls. And they're also going to have to create their own chances. Porto's going to be well organized. It's not going to be easy. They're not going to be able to just overpower Porto the way they can overpower a Portimonense. So they're going to have to be creative, and they're going to have to be efficient. That's one thing Benfica's not really been, and I think that's where most of my nervousness comes from.
Now Rui, on your side, what's the strength? But I think I'm gonna start, and you, of course, gonna compliment what I'm about to say now. I think it's the Porto right now. They know that Benfica is playing better. Is playing the better soccer right now than you. That's a truth that nobody can deny. Nobody can deny. But you on the other side, you have this the strength. This is a blue collar team right now. Blue collar, everybody knows that we don't have the fastest car, but we're gonna make sure that we're gonna run this baby until it burns, until we win. Right? Is that the point?
Yeah, that's it. We don't. I guess we don't. We're not a club that eats with forks and knives. We eat with our bare hands. It's. I think
I like that.
for us, for us in this, it's the strength is where exactly is it? Porto's strength this year has just been more of a character where they're just very resilient and they just don't give up. And I think when a team has their back up against the wall and they just don't panic and they just leave absolutely everything on the pitch, it can be a very dangerous thing. And a lot can come together from that. So I think for this year, it's definitely more of a character that's our biggest strength. On the pitch per se, it's hard to say because we haven't been playing that pretty football. There are players that have stepped up, like players like even Jain, players like Alan Varela, even Galeno at times, and then Taremi recently has been kind of catching his stride a bit. It's little pockets everywhere where you see some brightness, but altogether we're not playing a great style and convincing style of football. What I can say is I think this game is going to be dictated a lot in the middle of the field. I think Eustáquio, Varela, Koshu, whether it's João Neves or Florentino Luis, I think we're going to see a lot of this in the midfield. And these are, there's some physical players. Alan Varela, Eustáquio is this guy that just keeps running around. He's a destroyer. I think he is the new Uribe. He has a ton of energy. He just needs to not be reckless in this game like he was in the first matchup last season. But I think a lot of it's going to be dictated in the midfield, and I think Alan Varela and Eustáquio and even Nico Gonzalez, I think we might see him as well. They're going to have a huge workload to kind of slow down the attack as well on Benfica's end, because it's not just going to be the defense. It's not just going to be Zaidu. That midfield has to be there and try to slow things down for Benfica, because once Benfica lets loose, it's hard to control them, and you can't make too many mistakes with them. So I think for us, our main focus has to be in that midfield. We can't make mistakes, but that midfield really needs to really just take the game and not lose it.
We'll see about that on Friday, guys. We'll see about that on Friday. Moving on to a different topic, outside of your teams, but Boavista lost the first game, huh? You like that, Mike? You like that, Mike? Huh?
No, well, I think Rui called it last week when he said, we were forgetting Braga's still a good team just because their form was down, and I think, playing up a man helped, but they were very good. They reminded everybody who they are in that match, and to slow down the talks of Boavista sort of replacing them in that big four.
Right, even though King Richard was an actual king that night, and I love Ricardo when he plays those games, and he's just owning the team. It's just ridiculous. And I'm gonna make a point to one player that I think is gonna be I don't want to say the difference maker, but he's gonna have a fantastic season. Is Diallo, Alvarito Diallo. I think that this year is the year when he really gonna take off for Bragg. Rui, you watch again that one or?
No, I didn't catch the game, but I actually watched the highlights because I was kind of interested. I just wanted to. I had a gut feeling that Braga was just going to win this game because I think I think that this season, the way they started, I think they just put their marbles in qualifying in the Champions League. And I think it's more of a fluke that they are as far down in the standings than they should be. I think they're an excellent team. And I think in this game, it was just a statement game. It was an opportunity for them, and they weren't going to let it slip. And I think knowing what Braga has been for the last 20 years in the league, you kind of just felt that for me, I just felt that way. And they have a lot more experienced players, even though we didn't see José Fonte and José Mourinho, João Moutinho in this until the second half. Those characters in the training sessions, on the bench, in the locker room, it makes everything so much different. So these are players that have been there in those situations, and it can only help. And having experienced players like Pizzi and Horta on the field, it just makes it just kind of set everything for them in their direction. And I feel like in order to save their season, they had to win this game. It was a must-win game for them. So I just felt that way, that they had to win it.
It was a fantastic game. It was
Statement win.
Very much so.
Yeah. Absolutely. And guys, what do you think about the new Casapia of this year? What are you talking about, Nino? I'm talking about Famalicão. Famalicão putting up the best defense in the league right now after 6 rounds. They only conceded 3 goals. And Luis Jr. in fantastic mode. Luis Jr. You know that Luis Jr., Kosuke Nakamura, and Nacho Arrobarrena were the ones that had at least 100 saves last year. At least 100 saves.
That's a lot.
Which is ridiculous. And Nakamura had the most with 125, I think. What's 125? It's crazy. But you think, how long is this? You say that the Braga was not a fluke. How much of a fluke you think is Famalicão?
I don't think they're a fluke at all. A couple seasons ago they did this also. The first season that they came up into the first division, and they were in the European spots right until the very end. And I couldn't believe that they actually squandered it that season. This year there's fewer spots. It's going to be harder. They got to come in the top 4 or win the cup. So it's going to be harder this year. But they're a realistic contender for that 5th place spot. I mean, they are right there with everybody else after Braga. Boavista, we'll see where they go if they come back to the pack a little bit as the rounds go on. But just looking at they've got good players here. I mean, and year after year, we talked about it last week, how they just reload. They have these relationships with good clubs, and they get good players in every year. And they've invested. They've been aggressive in their investment, and they've gone out and gotten players. They've done well in the transfer market in selling players as well. They've moved players on to big clubs and obviously seen the financial rewards of that and invested it right back into their team. I mean, I can't see why they cannot be fighting for 5th place. And if Braga were to slip up, if they were to get caught up in Europe and drop too many points over the next 3 months, Famalicão could be looking at them and maybe make a run at that 4th place spot. I mean, that's really far-fetched. But the longer you stay in that pack, the more of a chance you have. I mean, a lot of times teams are good, but they fall off too far in the beginning of the season, and then it's too much ground to make back up. If they keep getting results like this, I think they're gonna stay in that. They're gonna stay within sight of that European pack of those European spots. And as long as they have something to play for, that should keep them focused and keep them getting results and working hard week after week. And I think, again, they have been good every season. Sometimes they drop in form, but they have presented a good team every season that they've been up in the 1st division, I think.
Now, going now down, but really down to the bottom of the table. We got Chavez, right? And Chavez did not lose. Finally, they didn't lose a game. They could have won that game, but the question here is Moreno the new Lito Vichigal of the Primera Liga? Is that a first statement or not?
Man,
really, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, he could be.
I
It
just
was a
got the
good.
feeling that
It's
he's
a
gonna
great
pull it off.
result for them.
I don't
I mean,
know
it's a
why.
great.
I don't know why, but I think he's gonna save Chavez. I don't know. I'm just saying this. This has nothing to do with tactics or analysis, or it's just my crystal ball that I have here, man. I'm telling you, I think Moreno is gonna save Chavez. I don't know why, but all right, I said.
I
All right,
mean,
Roy, I'm sorry.
It's a good result for them. And I don't know how the hell they pulled it off at so late on because it seemed all season long that they were just struggling to find the back of the net to get anything going, and they're down 2-0 against the Still Amadora, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, this team is gonna go 6 straight games and continue to not have any points, but then out of nowhere they score two goals. It's 1 point, but I don't know. They really have to change things, and does the manager deserve credit for it? Maybe, but they did go down 2-0 early on, and these games, it's hard to overcome a 2-0 lead when you're so late on. So I think they caught a break. They got a little lucky, a little fortunate, but things do have to change with them. And I guess we could say that Moreno is the new Vidigal of the league. So I mean, I don't know. It's too early. I would like to see Xavi stay in the league, but I
It's gonna
don't
be
know. I don't think it
complicated.
looks good. It's going to be complicated. It's still early on, and fortunate for them too, because I mean, all the way to 10th place, Gilby sent. They're only 5 points behind.
Yeah, they're still.
So as Mike was saying about that, like if you keep yourself in that pack in like the European zone, same thing happens in the relegation zone. So it's a long season. I don't know. Maybe Moreno's going to change things around and get them out of that rut. But the way they've been playing, the defense really needs to change because they're just letting up goals every single game. A lot of them.
Yeah,
19 to be
4-2
exact.
Victoria. He's
Yeah,
the lone
negative
firefighter.
30. They're already in double
Negative
digits
13,
and
yeah.
negative 13 overall. That's 6 games in. That's not good at all.
It's not good at all. All right, guys, we're gonna go now with the predictions of scores.
All
Like
right.
every week, we're gonna do the predictions for the weekend for the upcoming round 7. I'm of course gonna leave the first game for last. All right, because El Clasico gonna leave it for last. But now we're going with predictions: Vizela versus Portimonense. At Vizela, Mr. Rui.
I'm going to go with the Vizela in this one. I don't know. I feel that Vizela always, against the bigger teams, they always make it difficult for them. So I know it doesn't translate well in terms of when they're playing against the bottom half of the teams, because when bottom half teams play each other, it's kind of like an open game. But I'm just going to go with them on this one.
Mikey?
I'll go 2-1.
Yeah, I think Vizela win also. To be different, I'll say 3-2. But yeah, I see, especially at home, Vizela's got good support. They're gonna get the 3 points.
I'm gonna say 3-1 for Vizela on this one. All right. Ooh, look at this game. This is an awesome game on Saturday. Boa Vista Famalicão. Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Mikey.
2-2 for me. I got 2-2 here. I think
2-2?
Famalicão makes a statement here. They make a statement and they show that they're gonna stay with the leaders and with the front pack in the table. 2-2.
I'm gonna go with Boa Vista 3-1. I think Boa Vista is gonna rebound, and I think they're gonna prove to the rest of the league that they're gonna be battling for that European spot. So I'm gonna go with Boa Vista. If they don't win this game, then then we can start making the argument that they're a little bit of a fluke team.
Yeah. No, I got my eyes on Bobby Bazooka Botanic to score a brace on Famalicão on this one. I'm gonna say 2-1 with a brace from Bobby. There you go. All right, Farense Sporting Club. Faro. Hasta Luis. Mikey?
I think Sporting continues to do what they're doing. They're on good form. Things are going well for them. They're scoring goals. They're going to get 3 points again. 2-0.
2-0 and nothing. Okay. All right. Great.
think Sporting's gonna have a difficult time in this one. I think
Mhm.
I think they're gonna draw. They're on the road.
Me
I'm
too.
going with them. I think they're gonna drop points in this one. 1-1.
I'm gonna say I was leaning to that too. You know, I'm saying 1-1 too. I mean, but Valencia, San Luis, they're kind of tough.
They're tough.
Yeah.
They're
They are
tough.
tough.
It's different when you play the smaller clubs.
Yeah.
When they play against the bigger sides, and then on the road, it's never easy.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. All right, next one is Aruca versus Chavez. Oof.
Yeah. I think
Rui,
Go ahead, Rui.
Yeah, I think Aroca's gonna. I think they're gonna wail on them. Well, not wail on them, but they'll beat them 2-0.
Yeah, I think they're going to take out their recent frustrations on Chaves here. They've had a couple of rough results. They're a good team. Roca's got a good team. 3-0 at home over Chaves, I think.
3-0. Jesus,
Mhm.
what you so mean with Chavez, man? You just here in Monterrey, and you just all right, Rui.
Yeah, 2-0. 2-0.
Nothing. So no scores. I want to
Two.
get one goal from Double H, Mr. Hector Hernandez. I think he's going to score one goal on this one. What's next here? Victoria Guimaraes Estoril. It's a good game. It's a good game. I'm going to say 2-2 on that one.
I think Guimarães are gonna. I think they're gonna beat them. I think they, just like Boavista, just like Braga, they're just gonna keep on. I think they're gonna take advantage of the smaller teams that are in the relegation zone, and they need to win. So I'm gonna go with them. This one, I think. Are they home in this game?
They
Yeah,
are.
and they're home. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
crowd. That crowd is hard to deal with,
I'm
and
going to go
they
to
get. They really, I think when the crowd is behind them, they're much better, much more energized. So I'm gonna go with them. I'll go 3-1 in this game. Yeah.
I've picked Vitória Guimarães, I think 2 weeks in a row, and they've let me down both times. But I think they win
Third
this
time's
one.
a charm.
It's got to be. I
There
mean, it's
you go.
Estoril. Estoril are not doing well right now. They just sacked their manager. I don't see a bump coming from I forget the term that Derek used last week for that when the new manager comes in. But I don't see that for Estoril.
Something.
Yeah, I forgot what he said it was.
Chitadinha, something like that.
Something like that.
I'll
But
ask him. I'll ask him again.
at home, they need to win. They just like some of the other teams we said, they've got to stay within contact of the front, the top 6 at the very least, so that they're playing for something. I think Vitória Guimarães have just too much for Estoril this weekend. 3-1, Vitória Guimarães.
All right, and then Rio Ave versus Moreirense. I don't think I have yet a nail draw. I don't think there's been a nail draw yet. But I think it could be the
remember
first
one. This could be the one.
Yeah. I think this is the one that nobody's going to score in this one. What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a draw. I think I think they're a team that's been just grinding out more points this year. Obviously, they're in the top 10. So, but I think just them being on the road, and I don't think there's too much that separates between both sides. I think Rio Ave just being at home might just get a point on this one, and I think they need it.
Yeah, I'm thinking 1-1 here. I think 1-1. I think they'll get a goal each, and share the points, no doubt.
And of course, last but not least, O Clásico predictions, Mr. Benfica.
You put me up first. Okay. I like your thought of 2-1, and I think Benfica get up 2-0, and Porto give me 3 heart attacks before the game is over. But Benfica hold on 2-1 at home. They need to win at home. Otherwise, this whole calling it, the Hall of Celebrations, as Porto call our stadium, Benfica need to win, and otherwise you go behind 4 points if you don't. Even I don't think the teams in the top, I don't know how Rui feels. I don't think the top three are going to drop too many points this year. I'm getting the sense that they're going to finish with all three of them with a lot of points, which is going to make these matches even more intense. And at home, got to get the 3 points. I think Benfica will start well like they have, and it'll tail off. And Porto are going to fight like hell to come back in the way they do, and they're going to push it right to the end. But I'm gonna have just enough confidence in my team to hang on to a 2-1 result.
Rui?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a draw on this one. I'm gonna go 1-1. I think this whole streak of Porto and Benfica, I think it's like 6 or 7 games where it's been decided under 90 minutes where it's a win. So I think that streak's going to break. I think both sides are, I don't know, just like Mike said, I don't think there's going to be I think all 3 teams, and I think in particular Porto and Benfica are going to be neck to neck all season. And I think if Porto wins, it's just going to extend that gap too much. If Benfica wins, it's
Still
obviously a smaller gap. So I don't know. I think it's just going to stay right in the middle of the road here on this one. I think this derby is due for a draw, and I think just the way this season is going and how I think it's going to go too. It's going to be a 3-way race, and I think it'll probably tail off into a 2-way race between Porto and Benfica like usual. So just to add to the drama for the season, I'm going to go with a draw 1-1 on this one. I think
1-1.
I'll say Benfica scores first, and then Porto get a second half goal, and they just claw back.
I'm gonna say a 2-2 with a late equalizer from Porto.
Yeah. We all agree that Porto's going to score late.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
One thing I didn't think of until Rui was given his explanation is we could run into a situation where both teams are content with the point too at the end of the match.
Yeah.
Because neither one wants to lose this one. They can sort of both play it safe and late in the match, and we could see a situation where not too many risks are taken in that 1-1 or 2-2 that you guys have predicted holds up in that situation.
Yeah.
You said you're right, Mr. Benfica. And so best of luck for both of you.
Yeah.
All right.
Enjoy the match, guys.
Maybe we'll see it on Friday, maybe not. But I'm gonna be, calling the game.
Keep those great quotes coming, Nino. Keep those great quotes coming.
Yeah, we need you to go viral in this game.
Yeah.
All right.
Just don't do it when Benfica scores. Or actually, no, not when. If they score, not when. If.
All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. And that was it for Tuga Tuesdays. Thank you for joining me tonight, Mike, Rui, and best of luck for you on Friday. A Clásico week, señoras y señores. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the match, guys.
Cheers, guys.
All right, take care.